Young or old, married or single, having kids, not having kids, stress is something we all deal with. And our mindset and mental resilience is how we deal with and overcome that stress. And that practice, that mentality, that creation of a routine that sets a stable foundation is what sets us up for success or failure at the beginning of every single day. And this is why morning routines have become such a hot topic. It's not necessarily that you need to spend 15, 20, 30 minutes, an hour doing this elaborate routine, but why certain people find it so beneficial is it sets them up for success throughout the rest of their day. And it all starts in the mind. If you guys are new here, we have 5 main pillars of health. So we call it the L5 method. That's training, nutrition, mindset, movement, and habits. Today, we're really going to be diving into the mindset portion of those pillars. And the reason being is it's something that's so overlooked. It's taken for granted. We all understand how important it is, usually, but the vast majority of people are not actually implementing a mindset practice on a daily basis. So that's something we want to highlight today, give you guys some practical applications, explain what that's going to be doing for you. But I really want to hammer home right from the get-go. It is a core pillar. It is one of our 5 pillars of health. Mindset, to reiterate, affects our decisions. Better decisions equate to more progress. So in a health and fitness standpoint, which is what a lot of you guys are here for, what you're listening for on a weekly basis, if we can develop that stable mindset, that resiliency, we make better decisions and we have better health outcomes.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that like people just skip over, and not even just skip over from the start, but maybe they start doing these things and then, like you said, life happens. And ironically, this is the first one to go for a lot of people. They try to continue with the training and the nutrition and the other things, and like this one gets pushed to the side, like, oh, I am entering a busy phase of life. I don't have time to gratitude journal. I don't have time to meditate, or I don't have time for all these little things. But just sharing our perspective, I think, and I hope that you guys see like those little things, in my opinion, should be the most consistent across every phase and not just the training and nutrition. Because one, they're easier to be consistent with because they probably don't take as much time, but two, they're going to have such a greater impact even if training and nutrition is not in the right spot. So I hope by us sharing our perspective and our experiences here, it kind of opens your eyes if this is something that does kind of ebb and flow as you go through different seasons of life.
And listen, with the L5 method, those 5 pillars, one pillar is not any more important than the next. They are all equally important because they ebb and they flow into each other. They support each other. Without having a protocol in place for all 5, you are building your health and your fitness regimen on a house of cards. You're just stacking these things up. One door closes, one gust of wind, everything falls down, and it feels like you're starting from scratch. And that's why we preach the importance of all 5, and we talk about all 5 on this podcast. Because if you do choose to skip 1 or 2, and you've got these 3, or right now it's just training, or it's just nutrition, or it's just training and nutrition, those 2, you're not setting yourself up for success. You're likely going to see a much lower adherence. And when something throws one of those off, everything else hits the fan because you don't have this stack of habits that keep you in this maintenance phase instead of free falling back to where you started. So again, it's very overlooked for most people. It is the number one reason why many are not seeing results. Adherence, consistency, they plummet without mindset work. So to dive right in, how do we build a strong, resilient mindset? And one thing that we both do, we don't both do all of these things, I don't think, but is the journaling.
Yeah, I think that has probably been the most consistent thing for me across, like, when I think of the last couple of years, just going through pregnancy number 2, postpartum number 2, having a couple months not carrying a baby, and then getting pregnant again with number 3, like just having that to fall back on has been really helpful for me. And I think it's one of those things that also it takes 5 minutes. And it's been something that I've been able to be consistent with through the newborn phase, through this insanely busy season of life where it feels like we really don't have time. But that's something I can really always make time for because it literally takes no time at all. 5 minutes of my day, I can find that even on the worst of days where, you don't get any sleep and you're rushed and there's chaos in every corner of the house that you look in. I can take 5 minutes to get that in. And it always, every single time, there hasn't been one time where it hasn't made me feel better. So I think that alone just speaks to the power of like this tiny little thing that seems insignificant can really impact every other area of your life. And there's many days where doing that thing has bled into, oh, I'm going to do this. And then it gave me the motivation to go train because it kind of reminded me like, oh, your body's doing amazing things, your body is capable. Or maybe it gave me the patience to deal with the kids that were bouncing off the walls, or whatever it is. It kind of just flips your perspective for you, even if you don't realize it's happening in the moment. Like, it really can just kind of be that reset that you need on the most challenging days of being a parent, being a business owner, being just somebody trying to better their life.
This is one of the things I do throw in as a daily non-negotiable in my morning routine. Sometimes the morning routine literally is just washing my face, brushing my teeth, getting dressed, and like doing the gratitude journal. That's the first thing I do because it's, and you guys have probably heard these terms, but it's a form of recentering. It brings you back to the present moment, which is mindfulness, grounding, just again anchoring you in the here and now. Very simple prompts. So to kind of give you guys something to work through, three main sections of my journal, and you guys can free flow it based on what you see or what you're feeling for that day. Scrolling through, finding some different things you like. But mine are today I feel, and then we just fill in single word emotion: strong, calm, confident, determined, grateful, happy. Intentions, and I do implore you to be as specific as possible with these intentions. And I go back and forth with this. I kind of ebb and flow. Sometimes I am very specific for that specific day, and sometimes I'm a little more general with more of like a value-based principle. So for example, today, a few things I wrote down were: I'll be a great husband, I'll be a great father, I'll make the world a happy, healthy place, I will lead our company to greatness. Concept there is those are the lenses and the paradigms through which the decisions I'm going to be making throughout the day are made. Those are the things I'm focused on. Other times it will be very specific, like I will push this ad today, like something that may have been getting kicked down the road a little bit, something I keep putting off. It's like, this thing I'm going to do, I've been struggling with this thing. I'm not going to complain today. That could be an intention for those of us who get stuck in negative mindsets. It's very specific. You're going to catch yourself with it. And then my third prompt is I am grateful for, and then it's usually something with family, our home, our happiness, our health, being together, and the ability to kind of learn and grow from these struggles and these opportunities, viewing them as opportunities. So 3 general prompts, but again, you can just write in whatever you're feeling that morning. And the point is to just kind of start with a clean slate and create these points of, I don't want to necessarily say intentions or mindfulness specifically, but again, creating this paradigm, this lens to view things through to allow you to kind of wash the negative away. You wake up, again, starting fresh, you feel better about it. So to give you guys some numbers, some stats, I know that's something that you guys enjoy hearing, like what's this actually doing? So when it comes to mental health improvements, a systematic review and meta-analysis published in Family Medicine and Community Health examined the efficacy of journaling as an intervention for mental illness. The study found a statistically significant average reduction of 5% in patient scores on mental health measures compared to control groups. Notably, anxiety decreased by 9% in regards to the symptoms, PTSD symptoms by 6%, and depression symptoms by 2%. Now, especially that 2% number, that might not seem super significant. But again, moving the needle without medication, with just a simple protocol, and then again, starting with a clean slate is something that, we really can't take that for granted. So If we go to the gratitude journaling specifically, research summarized in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that participants who maintained gratitude journals reported increased optimism, spent more time exercising, and experienced fewer symptoms of physical illness. Daily gratitude journaling led to heightened overall gratitude, positive effect, enthusiasm, determination, and alertness. So, just as far as some specific things to your health and fitness journey, very clear that this is a powerful thing to move forward with. The gratitude practice itself, is there anything outside of journaling that you do?
Not currently, but in the past, even just something as simple as like when we would go for our walks, I would just like simply notice things that made me happy. Like the sun was shining, the grass is changing green after a long winter, like just being in that moment. That's more mindfulness, but also kind of helped me kind of just embrace a more positive mindset. If you're not into or want to start writing things down, I know there is a lot of benefit to actually like taking the pen to the paper and writing things down. But that was just an easy way to kind of get started and start just flipping that perspective and altering your mindset to see more of the positive than having to sit and write for 5 minutes. So just another option, but kind of the same premise.
So, a quick swap out for actual gratitude journaling, it could be vocalizing 3 specific things. So, saying it to your husband, your spouse, your significant other, family, friends, whatever it is, writing it in the journal, 3 things that you're grateful for. And a lot of these, like we kind of talked about before, they ebb and flow into each other. So, mindfulness, journaling itself, the gratitude practice, there's going to be some overlap, and you're going to get the benefits of all these through doing one of these in a lot of cases. As far as your physiological health, when it comes to gratitude specifically, an ecological momentary assessment study involving 4,825 participants found that trait gratitude practice predicted lower heart rate and blood pressure, improved sleep quality, increased physical activity, reduced stress, and greater appreciation towards others. Again, you do one little thing, you have these benefits in all these different side areas. So, how am I going to be healthier just from focusing on gratitude, just from journaling? You're creating momentum. These little habits that are being implemented are building positive momentum towards the next decision that you're making. We talk about this being your clean slate, your foundation for making better decisions. Well, this is how. When you're in a bad mood, you tend to make worse decisions. When you have a way of improving that and just kind of starting fresh and staying mindful and not letting that one thing that bumped you off track, that one little speed bump, affect everything else you do for that the rest of that day, because let's be honest, a lot of times it's not just that day, it's that week, it's that month, it's that season of life. So if you let setback lead to another setback, leading to another setback, continue to build, you're going to be buried before you realize it. So giving you specific numbers, those are some things to kind of reflect back on. Meditation is one that I have been very consistent with over the past couple of years. This one and cold exposure have been the main 2 that have really changed my life and introduced me to the idea of mindfulness and living in the present moment. And I keep it simple. Like, it's usually 10 minutes before bed. I like to do it after I work out. It doesn't always happen, or at some point midday. It's a great way to break up the day. We've talked about Aura Ring and those insights a few times, and I noticed that when I do break up the day, in the middle of the day, throw in a meditation session, I get that resiliency improvement on the score. Or I think there's 2 different sections. One is the resilience, and one is just like your overall stress levels, stress score, how stressful is your day. And that one is usually telling me I'm extremely stressed, high stress all day, no breaks, no resets. When I do get that meditation session in midday, I see an improvement in that regard. So one little thing to think about when you implement it, but start with a couple minutes, start with a minute of mindful breathing, just some type of breathing exercise, box breathing, just controlled breathing, focus on your breath. It's okay to get distracted. The point is to come back to your breath. You can do meditations guided. You can do it on your own, specifically following, body flows, going through body parts, following your breath. Whatever you enjoy the most and you're most consistent with, stick with that and then build up time. If you can get to 10 to 20 minutes a day, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I would say meditation and cold exposure, like focusing on the mental health benefits of cold exposure, kind of made me feel similar afterwards. Like once I would sit down and actually do them, like focusing on my breath and taking the time to like completely disconnect from everything else around me, like I feel similar benefits after both. Do you agree or disagree?
Agree.
Yeah. So I feel like if you're more inclined to do one or the other, and I know we'll probably get into cold exposure here in a second, but if there's one of these things that we talk about today, like don't think you have to do every single one of these. Like if you're not doing any of these right now, I just want to reiterate, like choosing one and starting with that is going to make enough of an impact, and then you can build upon there too. Like I think a lot of people will hear this or see things online and think that they have to implement every aspect of someone's morning routine or evening routine or whatever they're doing, where if you just pick one and start with one for 5 minutes per day, that is going to be the biggest hack as far as seeing the actual benefits of doing this, because you're going to be able to be more consistent versus trying to do every single thing we're talking about here, doing it for a week and then getting overwhelmed or it just doesn't fit your life. So pick and choose what is applicable for you. Just a reminder.
And meditation is not this woo-woo thing. There are some incredible benefits, mental health, physical health coming out. This is actually a post that I have coming out later this week. So for those of you who are here, you heard it here first. But basically, engaging in daily meditation has a profound effect on cellular health and longevity. A study published in Psychoneuroendocrinology investigated the impact of intensive meditation training on immune cell telomerase activity. These findings revealed participants who underwent a 3-month meditation retreat, and granted, this is like an extreme version. These guys are 3 months, 6 hours a day of meditation. So it's just going from one extreme versus a control to see what the differences are, and they were very significant. So on that 3-month retreat, those who were there exhibited approximately a 30% increase in telomerase activity compared to the control group. Now, telomerase is an enzyme responsible for maintaining the length and integrity of telomeres, which are the protective caps at the ends of chromosomes, and those are crucial for healthy cellular aging and stability. Now, those findings revealed that regular meditation practice was, in fact, associated with that positive increase in telomerase activity, suggesting a potential mechanism for slowed cellular aging. So we're actually talking about slowing down aging just by entering a meditative protocol. As far as why that could happen, reducing stress. So we are often stuck on a daily basis in our sympathetic nervous system activation. So that's what's activated when we want to shift, away from the workout, away from when we need to use fight or flight, into that parasympathetic nervous system activation, which is allowing us to rest and to recover. When stress is really high, we see a lot of negative health outcomes, especially when that stress becomes chronic. So that's just a simple explanation for what could be happening when we implement meditation and why that actually improves physical health. But it is absolutely a game changer. It has been for my mindset specifically, but there are some very, very cool physical benefits that happen with this. To give you a few more, I won't dive into the obviously improved mood and decreased rates of anxiety and depression, but a systematic review and meta-analysis published in the Journal of Psychiatric Research also found that various forms of meditation significantly reduced physiological markers of stress, including cortisol levels, C-reactive protein, blood pressure, heart rate, triglycerides, tumor necrosis factor alpha. So again, boosting overall health. It's not just in the mind when it comes to meditation. These are some unbelievable improvements. And this is, we can see these improvements in 10, 20 minutes a day once we work up to that point.
And if you are an app member, we do have a little intro to meditation series in there, I believe, still, right?
Yeah.
So if you're using the SDE Method app, you can kind of dabble with listening to those if you want something to follow along with. I think there's a series of videos in there to start, but it's another good resource if you aren't sure how or where to begin.
And a lot of people will talk about, oh, I suck at meditation. I can't do it. I always get distracted. I know I hit on it before, but that's the point. That is the practice. Every time you get distracted, that's a mental rep. We notice it. You notice the thought. You notice the distraction. You come back to your breath. And then you get a little better each time. If you can go 10 seconds, that's fantastic. So don't feel like you're doing it wrong, like you're doing it poorly. That's how it goes. That is the process. Go through the workout, distraction, come back, repeat, repeat, repeat. All right, mindfulness itself, which again, the gratitude practice, the journaling, the meditation, we are all enhancing mindfulness through those routes. But outside of that, it's just living in the present moment. So some things that we love to do is just getting outside with the kids, being outside by ourselves, taking that walk, doing whatever it is that we need to do to engage in something. It can be, reading a couple books by Thich Nhat Hanh. He'll talk about, whatever you're doing right now is the most important thing in the world. If you're washing the dishes, if you're folding laundry, put all of your time, your energy, your mental work into that one specific thing. That's all that there is. You're not worried about anything else. You're just doing that to the best of your abilities. And that is practicing mindfulness. Whether you want to get into meditation right now or not, we all have to do things throughout the day. Put your energy and your focus into that one thing and focus on not letting your mind wander. When it does, bring it back to that thing.
I think that's a particularly challenging thing for the mom listeners out there who feel like they're constantly being pulled in a million different directions. Like, I even know, like last night during dinner, I popped on a podcast with my headphones because the kids were screaming and there was craziness going around. And I'm like, I need to just like listen to something else. So understand that when we say something like that, like try to find small pockets of time that maybe you can start to focus on that, but it's not going to be realistic to think about doing that all day long either. I know personally, like just the season of life we're in right now, like I focus on being mindful in those moments with the kids, in those moments of pockets of moments throughout the day, but there is a lot of the day still where I'm being pulled in a million different directions. So again, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't have to be perfection. But if you can find a few minutes here and there to just pull yourself into whatever you're doing and only that, that's going to be super helpful.
And when it comes to cognitive function, research does indicate that higher levels of mindfulness throughout the day are associated with increased happiness, decreased anxiety and depression symptoms. Studies suggest that mindfulness contributes to a greater sense of purpose in life and engagement in activities, which are linked to positive mental health outcomes. So again, we are continuing to establish that strong, sturdy, resilient foundation. And then cold exposure itself. This one was a game changer for me personally. I know it's helped you significantly as well. And this was before it became a thing. This is before it was, anybody arguing about physical benefits. For myself personally, it was really wanting to focus on mental resilience to overcome my struggle with reactive emotions and just being sensitive, being hyper-reactive to things like instantly. We talk about delaying the stimulus with the reaction. That's something that helped me to kind of find my breath, overcome that immediate stress. You jump into the cold water, there's that gasp, and then you just slowly find your breath and you slow everything back down. Then it calms down 30 seconds in and you're good. So
I think it initially started though, like we had a conversation, we were at Joelle's and you were just talking about hating being cold and you just wanted to overcome being cold, and it was that next week.
I have been cold plunging long before Joelle.
No, it was with, I remember the exact weekend it happened because we went home and we were living at my parents' at the time, and we went back and you bought the plunge, but we were talking with another guy who was there. He will not be named. And we were talking about like those, like the plunges people do like in the ocean, the polar plunges. And you were just saying, I remember you were saying you just hate being cold, and that's what initially triggered it, was you just wanting to do something uncomfortable. So that stuff might have followed, but that's how I remember you started it.
Okay.
You don't remember that?
I remember that. I just feel like it's been going long before that. Like that's maybe when I bought the tub. I don't know. But it's here, the key and the trick and the hack, whatever you want to call it, with the cold exposure is you literally cannot think about anything else. Like you're not worried about work. You're not worried about the kids. You're not worried about anything else because it is ungodly cold. And your body is literally in fight or flight mode. It thinks you're dying. You feel like you're dying. It's miserable. But by breathing through it, and this is the cool part, like we talk about delayed gratification versus instant gratification. There's instant gratification, essentially, with the cold plunge. If you can calm yourself down, find your breath, within 30 seconds, there is a calm you feel unlike anything you've ever felt before. And that lasts for a significant portion of your day beyond that. And the short win, the quick win, especially if you're doing this first thing in the morning, you start your day with this. The quick win is I did something I didn't want to do. I overcame that thing. I made it my bitch. If I can do that, I can do anything else. There's nothing else that can stop me throughout this day. Like I can overcome it all. So just from, we're not even going to dive into any potential physical benefits or, any other reason people do the cold plunges. For that purpose alone, and the stimulation you get in your mind, the dopamine enhancement, and just the sense of accomplishment, the momentum you're building for that day, it's delayed gratification in the sense of you have to work for 30 seconds, but it's instant, essentially beyond that. Probably one of the most powerful changes I've made to my lifestyle in the last 3 years.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's proven just how significant the impact is every time that I do it. And I've done it. I did it all, I think almost all pregnancy with Cora. I think I opted out for a few weeks in the first trimester, and then all throughout postpartum. And then, as I mentioned last episode, I think I didn't do it while pregnant with Wes just because I was already beyond stressed. But doing it again now, like even just having that as my sole thing, like if I have time for nothing else, if I have time, barely have time to brush my teeth, like I'm still making that happen over anything else I do in my morning routine, because one, I know I can get it done in literally 2 minutes from start to finish, and two, like I know just how much better I'm going to feel from those 2 minutes versus taking those 2 minutes to try to piece an outfit together or do my makeup or do my hair or whatever it is. Like I'm always going to pick the cold shower in this season of life because I know that is like the easiest hack, in my opinion, for me to start my day on the right note. So again, like we have our morning routines, we have these staple things that we do most days, but we're human just like you guys, and there's days where things happen, whether it was like, Kai waking up overnight because he had a bad dream, or we just get a late start on the day for whatever reason. There's certain things that we still will do no matter what, and that is my thing right now that I know I'm going to do no matter what, because it truly just elevates every next thing that I do.
So we hit on 5 mindset protocols, practices in this episode today. Gratitude practice, journaling, meditation, mindfulness, and cold exposure. Again, one of those things can check all those boxes. You can choose to check them all individually. You can choose for the mindset pillar of the L5 method which one of these makes the most sense for you, and then you can build upon it later. But to give you guys some protocols for each specific, as far as the gratitude practice, this can check the journaling box as well, but write down 3 things that you're grateful for, or vocalize that to somebody else, to a spouse, a friend, parents, whatever that looks like. Journaling, again, we can be doing that with the gratitude practice. You can incorporate the gratitude into your journaling. A simple prompt, today I feel. That's one. The second, intentions. What are your intentions for that day, or the things you're focused on moving forward? That's the paradigm. That's the lens you want to look through as you make decisions and move throughout your day. And the third part of that is I am grateful for. Meditation. If you're brand new, a minute of mindful breathing. Just focus on your breath. Follow your breath all the way in. Follow it all the way out. Just feel that movement, the wind through the tip of your nose as you come in and out. Build that up to a few minutes, 5 minutes. If you can get to 10 to 20, you're in a fantastic spot. And that can be a guided meditation. There are plenty of free apps. We've got the intro series in our app. It could be just you focusing on your breath and going through those breathing exercises, setting a timer, and then it goes off and you're done. Mindfulness, and this is mindfulness throughout the day. Again, this is checked with everything we're doing, but as far as a specific protocol, just getting outside, taking a walk, paying attention to new things you didn't see yesterday on that walk, playing sports with the kids, running around outside, going to the rec park, going to the swings, whatever it is. Just being in the moment, put the phone down, put it on silent, do not disturb. Give yourself 10, 20 minutes minimum going through that, especially for the kids. Or cold exposure. So starting with 30 seconds in a cold shower, and it is going to suck. And the hardest part is probably going to be getting in, and then when you get pelted with those cold BBs, that does suck too. But set a timer for 30 seconds. Just breathe through those 30 seconds. Those are the most difficult seconds of the entire process. From that point, getting to a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes is much easier than getting through the first time, especially, but getting through the first 30 seconds. So start there. If you want to level it up, you don't have to go spend $5,000 on a cold plunge. You can go buy a stock tank, throw some ice in that thing. That's like $100. We bought a chest freezer and a little setup, so chest freezer. There's a plug on Amazon you can get that basically has a hot plug and a cold plug, and once it gets to a certain temperature, that outlet turns on. So you plug it into the cold one. If it gets above, let's say you got it set for 45 degrees, and then there's a plus or minus 3 degree variance that it'll let it float in between. But once it gets to that 4th degree, it kicks on, the freezer turns back on, and it cools it back down. We do also have a fish tank filter in there. So it's got a UV filter to kill some bacteria, and then the actual, keeps it flowing and filters it out through the media there. That one's a little more expensive. I think all in all, we had to buy a brand new freezer because I didn't fit in the small ones that we could find. So that was like $500, I think, for the whole setup. You do not need to do that. You can literally just do the cold showers, and it's going to be a game changer for you. So those are the 5. Those are specific protocols that you can apply within each. Any closing thoughts you want to leave them with when it comes to the pillar mindset?
Just again, take it one step at a time. Don't feel like you have to implement everything that we talked about or everything that someone else talks about. One thing, start with that one thing for 5 minutes today or tomorrow and build upon there. Once you're consistent with those 5 minutes over the next maybe week or two, add something else, or, go for a little bit longer if you're doing meditation. Progressive overload applies to all of the pillars, really. And, as long as we make these small changes and slowly increase over time and progress and get better over time, before you know it, you have an entirely new lifestyle. And that's the point. And that's really our mission, is to help you figure out how to build that lifestyle in a way that's sustainable for you.
As a reminder, guys, we do have a 3-episode rule. If you are listening beyond 3 episodes, we just ask that you please leave us a 5-star review. Share it with a friend. Share it on social. Tag us on social. Start the conversation. If you're still within those first 3 episodes, enjoy it. If you don't, then it was nice having you here. Don't feel like you need to stick around. But it's a free podcast. It's one of the free resources we provide, guys. We want to just make sure we're expanding this audience. If anybody can take home one thing from an episode, it just makes a big difference. And that's just your role in the community, is to facilitate this reaching one more person. If you're listening beyond those 3 episodes, the reason that rule came into play is you probably got some value from this. And you sharing that allows one more person or a handful more people to get value from this if they choose to pick it up. If you guys do need additional tools and resources, again, we do have multiple free resources. We've got the podcast, we've got the social content. We actually have freebies on our site. All that stuff is linked below. We have our fitness app, so guided workout programs if you're confused about what to do in the gym or at home with limited equipment. You get access to everything in there. There's no paywall. There's a bunch of different programs you can look through and jump into whenever you're ready. And then our premier offer is one-on-one health coaching for those who want to basically shortcut the trial and error period, work with one of our members of our dream team, incredible staff, incredible credentials. Our coaches have something for everything, and they've seen it all. Their job is to listen to you, figure out what phase of life you're in, what works for you, what doesn't, implement the protocols that are going to deliver the highest ROI. So that's who we are. That's what we do. If you're just a part of this community and you never sign up for coaching, never sign up for the app, we appreciate you just being here. Our goal is to change the world. We want to make the world a happy, healthy place. And you listening to this podcast gets us one step closer to that. So that is where we're going to wrap it up today, guys. A little bit shorter and sweet. Where can they find you?
I'm at Alessandra Skutnik.
I'm at Josh Skutnik.
Everything else you need.